Hey everybody, welcome back to the Undoubtedly Real podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Rancic, and this is episode 2 of the podcast, or maybe really like episode 1.5. This week we're still talking to Andrew Jacob Brown, creator of the After series and actor in the After series, and Michael Oilar, also actor in the After series, and one of my former cast members from The Cancer Card, my short film. I had such a good time talking to these guys that I decided I wanted to split our talk up into 2 episodes. One where we talked more about filmmaking and the craft, where we dug into what they did in After and how they work together, which we put out a few weeks ago. And another episode where we started talking more about our faith and having almost, not really like a Bible study, but just talking more in depth about what it means to be a Christian and stuff like that. So that's why I decided to split these up into 2. There's a little overlap in this episode we're putting out this week, so stick with us as we, get to talking more about the After series again. And then there's some, funny parts like Michael's dream that I couldn't leave out because it makes me laugh so hard, but then it does tie into something we talk about at the end of the episode, so I kept that in there for that reason. But as we get more into each other's faith and stuff like that, I think you'll find some nice things or some really interesting things that both believers and non-believers alike it'll make you think. It'll just kind of just, for lack of better words, just give you something to ponder that, if you don't believe in God or if you've ever just wondered about God, it'll give you something new to think about. So, the After series was supposed to come out in between these episodes while I was on vacation. I was supposed to put out this episode while I was on vacation, but unfortunately the software that I'm using was having a lot of hiccups and it was giving me a lot of issues where our audio was all on top of each other and I was not able to put this episode out. But the After series, Tubi was also sitting the After series in a queue and it was not put out on May 27th when it was supposed to. And that was not fun for Andrew and Michael, who were really excited to put this show out for the fans, and I was really excited to start watching it. So the After series is still not out on Tubi, but it is out on Rediscover TV, which is a subscription-based video on-demand service. And it is also out right now on Amazon to buy. You can buy an episode or you can buy the whole series. I highly recommend searching for it on Amazon. If I can link it here in in my podcast in bio for the episode bio, I will. But when you purchase episodes or the whole season on Amazon, that helps Andrew fund season 2. That helps him, make some money and start to help fundraise for season 2 and get what he needs to do to start making season 2. So again, you can find After currently on Rediscover TV and start a subscription there, which will also help him fundraise, or you can find it on Amazon and buy an episode or the whole series. So again, you might hear some overlap from episode 1 if you have listened to it, or if you're a new listener, you will get to hear some of what we talked about, like what the series is about, some of what Andrew has made on his YouTube page that'll help you get to know about the End of Times, which this show is based around biblically. And just get to know about him, a little bit about filmmaking and him and Michael's experience. And you will also be talking about God and how he is working in all of our lives. And I think, it's beautiful. I think we talk about a lot of things that you can say are coincidental, that you can say, these things, they just happen. They're happenstance or whatever. But to me, if you listen to my, technically, I guess this is my third or second and a half episode. But if you listen to this first episode that I have called Finding Undoubtedly Real, you'll see that when I started this podcast, when I started my production company, I started with the name Undoubtedly Real because things added up and God talked to me, I believe. And he said, this production company's name needs to be called Undoubtedly Real because sometimes these things aren't coincidental. Sometimes I show you that they're undoubtedly real. And Andrew shows in his life that in his story, these things are undoubtedly real. And that's how he got to making the After series. And that's how him and Michael got together, and they formed a really close relationship that's really beautiful. And I really hope you guys start watching this series. And I think you love it. I hope you're gonna love it the way I've been loving it. And I hope you guys love this episode and get to see a little bit of God through all of it. Enjoy.
And like my background, like I don't even have done actor.
What is this song that's apparently 're1 in the nation that I've never heard of?
You Look Like You Love Me?
Choosing Texas.
Oh.
There's no, okay, it's from 2025, so I doubt you're right.
No,
I'm not allowed to play this.
Choosing Texas is this. Yeah.
This doesn't sound like it's for me.
Oh, it's great. I love LA.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to this concert.
You're not really a country person, though, are you?
No.
Yeah.
Dang.
Maybe if I had heard this several days ago when I was in Florida. Okay, so you were in this dream, you were in the scene with Ella Langley?
I think she was actually like the casting director. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. She did.
Never
she
know.
Did a great job. She was.
Wow.
Seemed like I did all right.
And
she was
I
nice.
have to imagine you have some type of crush on her?
No.
Sure you don't.
It's probably because she's on the radio all the time.
That's fair. That's so funny.
I love dreams. I love them. Love dreaming. And my dreams are very vivid. Very vivid.
This one was too. In fact, when I woke up, I was confused because it was so real that I was like,
yeah.
Did that happen? Okay, did I get the part? Wait, I don't even know the lines.
Wow. You don't know the right.
I don't know my locker combination.
Wow. Locker combination. What?
It's like a
Hello, everybody. This is the Undoubtedly Real podcast, episode 2. We're talking with creator of the After series, Andrew Jacob Brown. We are here with Michael Oilar.
You're making it a little fancier than it needs to be.
We have a show creator and not a small part, but not a what do we call it?
A leading role?
Not a lead role, right?
For what?
For After.
No, Michael's one of the leads.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, then you were very humble about that.
You know, I try to. A role's a role. I don't really differentiate from my perspective whether I'm a supporting or a lead. I do what I'm supposed to.
I guess it could go either way. There's about eight cast members, including myself. And he's one of them. I don't say this out of false humility. I just try to. I kind of look at it as an equal thing. They're all leads instead of saying I am the lead of a series that I created. I don't like saying that.
It's an ensemble.
Yeah.
That's
really is.
awesome.
Yeah.
And my co-host is with me, Bailey Ramsier. Hi, Bailey.
What?
I am so happy to have you. Michael slept in because he had this wild dream. We'll dive into that, and I have something really crazy about dreams that'll tie into when we talk about podcasts. But I want to get into the After series. So, Andrew, can you pitch us the After series?
The After series is an apocalyptic drama
Yes.
that takes place in the last days. It is about a group of fractured survivors that have to kind of group themselves together. They get forced to band together to survive the last days, and they have to kind of face a lot of their own issues during this hardest time in history. During a time when it's an economic collapse and
Mm.
it's a harsh government, I'll say. So, and that's what makes it interesting is a lot of characters like Michael's. They're facing issues that um, how do I say it? It's like it's these characters are not 100% good. And they're not 100% bad. I guess that's the way you want to say it. But they're all lost, and they're trying to navigate this life. Uh, you know, during a time where they don't have any hope or faith or goodness, I'll say, in the world. So it's an intriguing drama. So that's the basis of what the show's about.
You say end times. I mean, you're not talking about like Walking Dead, as in there's zombies coming and we're
No,
doomed to everybody become zombies. After is biblical end times, something we all believe is gonna happen.
yeah, I am okay. I'm a huge eschatology fan. It's just a fancy way of saying the study of end times, and I've got into that 20 years ago, and I'm a big guy. I'm a
Okay.
big getting into scripture kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think Left Behind kind of made a popular run, like in the early
Hmm.
2000s, with the book series. It was a book
Yeah.
series, and they made a few movies, but yeah, I mean, that's basically what After is about. It's leading up to the second coming of Christ. It's a 7-year tribulation period um, that we're all going to face biblically. The when or the hour. I think nobody knows the hour, but I got intrigued by that, and I thought, you know what? Nobody's ever done a drama of this. We've made plenty of movies,
Mm.
Yeah.
but let's do a biblical, dark, gritty, end times apocalyptic story, but make it clean, if that makes any sense.
No, I get it. I get it.
That's where my heart's desire went towards, and I think with this kind of story, it can reach the believer and the non-believer at the same time.
Dying, especially as a kid, I was so afraid of. I think any kid is. I mean, you just run for your life, at the thought of dying, at any danger. And so I was pretty convinced at a young age
Mm.
that, there was a God and Jesus was real and stuff like that. And so the book of Revelation scared the bejesus out of me because I was like, oh, it's death. I'm not ready for this. And so I flipped to anything else other than that, even when I accepted Jesus into my heart. So I never looked at Revelations just because it freaked me out. Bailey and Michael, were you guys that way? What were your guys' opinions or feelings about that stuff?
I didn't grow up in the church. It's
Right.
funny because one of my Bible study leaders, like she grew up in the church, and her and this other girl in my Bible study both grew up in the church, and when they were kids, they're like, oh, like Revelations, it's so scary, it's so scary. And now they're like,
Yeah.
you know, great, like can't wait for the Lord to come back. But then myself
Yeah.
and this other girl, we didn't grow up in the church. So then when it's like all these bad things are gonna happen, okay, but Jesus is coming back, great, cool, let's go. Like, um, we just like have a different perspective because we didn't grow up in the church. And I'm sure like as a child that is scary. But I'm like, when you don't have that hope, before, and then like you now like are in relation with your heavenly Father, and it's just like, okay, great, like when's he coming? Can it be tomorrow? So that's my take on, like, I'm like, just
Right.
let it happen,
Yeah. Mike, how
Yeah,
about you?
I didn't grow up in the church either, but I've
Okay.
since read Revelation multiple times, as well as the Book of Enoch. I think it goes hand in hand. I know it's not canon, but
Mm.
it's there. It's
Yeah.
it's there. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's one of those things where like you try to break down the symbolism and what is theoretical versus what is literal. And it's a hard read, and no one really can break it down. You can have a million different opinions as to what it all means, but nobody knows. And I don't know. You read it and you just hope. Well, I hope the rapture actually happens before Revelation, because I don't think I want to deal with those 7 years, because that's not going to be fun.
No.
Mm.
No. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a heavy one.
Yeah. So Andrew, when did you start really, getting into all that? Because you're clearly fascinated by it.
I am about the time I gave my heart to Christ. Really, it was in 2003. By the way, I have an iconic date, May 4th. Since May 4th just
Yeah, we're
happened,
recording this on May
May
7th.
4th be with you. That was the day I gave my heart over to Christ, so it's always memorable for me. Yeah. But
Mm.
you know what? I'll say this. I was really fortunate because we had a verse by verse Bible church, and that's very rare. And I'll say that humbly because it's just kind of a sad. Not a lot of people do that.
Wow.
Not a lot of churches go through verse by verse, and we're talking from all the way Genesis all the way to the end, and it takes us 14 years to get through the whole Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun because you can always go
Mm.
back and listen to the recordings and study. And when
Wow.
I was a garbage man, I did that for 6 years. And I used to listen to 8 teachings a day. And sometimes I listen to the same ones. And just like anything else, just like acting,
Right.
remembering your lines, whatever it is, like if you do something repetition, like you're going to remember, you're going to get good at it. And I come from that.
Mm-hmm.
How do I say this? I come from that background where I didn't have a dad growing up, so I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. So martial arts, basketball, anything that I was in, it required repetition to get better at it. And I still have those same principles today. So with the Bible
Right.
teaching, I was
Mm.
eating it up because here I got a pastor that's going through the Bible, teaching the Bible, the Word, and then when you get it over and over,
Yeah.
you're like, man, like you start to see things more clearly and faster. Um, so I don't know. I just got kind of
Right.
really into it, and 28% of the
Yeah.
Bible is Bible prophecy.
It's
It's a fourth.
intimidating.
Not a lot of people want to talk about that stuff. So I think it's very important. Yeah, well, it can be, but you don't want to get me off on scripture. But 1 John 3 says that he who has this hope, talking about the hope of the Lord's return, purifies himself. So there's a different perspective. It's not all fear. If
Yeah.
in fact, I think it's exciting. We're living in a days that's talked about in the Bible, in my opinion. You see that and you go, wow, that's us. We're right here. Mockers and scoffers will come in the last days. Hey, I know a guy, like we're living in those times. And for me, I think it's exciting because
Right.
I have that hope in the Lord's return, and it purifies me the way I live. I'm not going to go out and, do some sinful act or crazy, I'm not going to try to be in a bad place when he comes back, because he can come back anytime. And so for me, it gives me hope. And kind of like what you were saying, Bailey, I'm not really worried about the Lord coming back, because I'm hoping he comes back, right? Solves the problem of today's world.
I've been doing the Bible recap. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a Bible in a year. This girl, Tara
Okay.
Lee Cobble, does this study, but it's in chronological order.
Yeah.
And that has been really cool. I started it back in like November, and I'm just like, I'm in Psalms and starting First Kings, and I'm in Chronicles. So it's like this, like, you're intertwined throughout scripture. And one, going chronological is so cool to just see, like, one, God in the beginning, but then all these prophecies of Jesus from the first page to where I'm at even now. Um, and I mean, I can't imagine a church going verse by verse, because churches, don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, but like doing that in my own like time with the Lord has been so cool, so
Eye opening.
refreshing, and just like, yeah, and just like really seeing the Lord in all of the things has been so cool. And it's like you get a little you're like, every day for a whole year, every day for a whole year, that's a lot of days. But then the more you get into it, like the Lord has just really
So
opened up my
cool.
heart and mind to just like reading scripture and reading his word, and it's so good, and I recommend it to literally everybody. So Bible recap, plug that. But yeah. Okay, so then question for both of you, for different gigs and
Close friends.
auditions, how do you choose what you will and won't do, especially like with your faith? Like
Ooh,
what
good one.
roles you have, like, I guess, hard limits on.
It's a good question. And everybody's different. And I'm going to say this out the gate. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that one, but it's tough. We all have different convictions for different
Correct.
things. I'm married. As
Correct.
far as I know, Mike's not married, right? You're not married.
Stop rubbing it in, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I just showing the audience a compare contrast. We may have different ideas on this
Mm,
one. So for me,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
real excited about kissing another woman because of my wife, and so those roles are always hard for me. I see a perfect role sometimes, but it has a
Of
kissing
course.
scene, and it's not that I'm scared to kiss another person. It's just that I want to honor my wife, and I want her to only touch my
No.
lips. So that one's a tough one for me. Nudity, that's not me, and I'm not talking about taking a shirt off. I just mean like nudity. I don't want to do that. So it makes it hard because you got to gauge what you do. And I see roles all the time, and sometimes you get halfway into it. Like I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Just this year, I had a audition for a feature film in Louisiana, and it had Michael J. White, martial artist, has been in some Marvel stuff. He played Spawn back in the day. I don't know if you know who he is, but he uh, he was the lead, and I thought, man, this would be a perfect supporting actor. I think Tom Berenger was in it too. I read the script. I actually got a script of it, and I read it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. This is complete trash. Like it was just complete trash. Like it was too much in it, and I was like, man. And that's another thing. Uh, as a faith-based guy who's got a series that I think could be great, how would that look on me? I'm in a scene that's got all this raunch, and then I turn around and say the after series. So for me, I think it's really hard
Yeah.
because I love secular stuff. Like I want to be in secular stuff too. I don't put a limit on that. I just think for roles and stuff. So, Mike, I don't know where you're at.
I don't really have any limits. Um, mine is less like what the content is, but how it's written. Like if it's poorly
Mm,
written, I don't want anything to do with it. If it's out of my
I get
comfort
that.
zone, I almost want it more, to
Mm-hmm.
stretch what type of role I can play and to
mm,
push me. I don't want to get locked into a situation where I'm just playing the same type of roles over and over. So I'm okay going wherever the acting world takes me. The nudity thing, maybe if I toned up and lost like 20 pounds and had abs and look good naked, then maybe that would be something I'd think about. But right now, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've done multiple genres. Like I've done, the faith based. I've done LGBT stuff. I've done
You're brave.
sci-fi. I've done horror. I've done drama. I've done. So I've touched on a lot of different genres, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I always find it fascinating to see like how
There you go.
and why people choose the roles that they audition for or get. I mean, especially, I mean, you're auditioning for them, so you hope to get them. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to agree with
Yeah.
Mike. I have to agree with Mike too about the more difficult the role is, and well, you almost want it.
Mm.
I love that. I love the challenge of taking on something like, ooh, man, that'd be something. Like I don't know if I can see myself in that.
Yeah.
Doesn't that draw you? I mean, I can see that drawing you in, Mike. I get that part for sure. Oh man, it's like, yeah, because I want to climb on that. Like, it just had me thinking when he was saying that. Like, we don't always get those opportunities. We don't always get because you get typecasted a lot of the times. Mike's
Yeah.
blessed though. I'm gonna plug him on this one. He is a character actor. He actually can fit a lot of different things. So he has that blessing going from him. Not everybody can do that. What I mean is like he could be wanted for each one of those things, which is
Mm.
amazing. If you look a certain way, they may not. They're like, oh, you want to play a villain? Sorry, whatever. Mike has a good gift there. I think he has a look for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't look the same in any of my projects. Yeah, none of
Go
none
ahead.
of my roles I can even
Yeah.
compare to the other. Like, there's nothing I can't look at after and say, okay, yeah, I've played that role before. I've never
Mm.
played a character like Rich. Um, We Are Hunted, never played a character like that. Like, I could list each one of my things, and they're all completely different from the other.
Andrew, you have a lot of great content on After's YouTube page.
Yeah, and it's After Series YouTube channel.
And you have a video of you talking to every actor in the series, actor, actress, about their character going through the series, and their audition process, a little bit about their own background as an actor. And that's all found on After's YouTube page. You also have some great content going through the Book of Revelations, and for lack of better words, like sermons, right, about the tribulation and the rapture and stuff like that, which is really great if you want to dig deeper for watchers of the show and want to get to know stuff like that.
I am creating a whole community there. So even the teachings, or if you want to call them teachings, because I get into scripture and Bible end time stuff, is related to the series. It's to get people excited. So the podcast, if you want to call it that, it's called Actors on After. Now, if you're familiar with Actors on Actors, there's an Actors on Actors that they have on YouTube that it's usually two famous actors squaring off. Well, I did a spin-off of that, kind of play on words there. So I called it Actors on After, and that was before we filmed. So I thought it'd be a great way for not only me to get, to learn a little bit about the actors, but for them to shine a light on them and let them talk about themselves. And that's what that was. And Mike's been at. We need to revisit that, I think.
And I didn't watch all of Michael's your guys' Actors on After yet, but I was running around like a madman this morning, and I'm not much of a morning person, as Michael is not also. But I was watching something that you guys early on were talking about, and it was about the recognition with something like Chicago Fire and Empire and stuff like that, these staples in Chicago. And it's the recognition. Even as you start becoming something from a background actor to more of someone with a few roles. And not to say the ego, but the recognition that comes with that. Michael, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think I remember that conversation. It was basically like we were talking about the journey in this world as an independent filmmaker. I'm part of the independent film process, and people would just kind of look at you and be like, "Oh, well, what have you been in?" You list your work, and they'd be like, "I never heard of that." And I've worked background on Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, like every show that was filmed in Chicago, I've done background on. So like you could list all your accomplishments
Yeah.
in the independent world, and people would just be like,
That's
"Oh."
funny, man.
But the minute you're like, "Oh yeah, I did
That's a
background
funny
on
thing.
Empire," they'd be like, "Wait, what? You were on Empire?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I was on Empire." Granted, that's
Yeah.
not showing off any of my skill set or work, but people recognized it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said that's not even what you're the most
That's
proud
something.
of, for
Right?
sure.
It was just like, I'd rather you know me for something I crafted and brought to life and put on a performance for. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. I know it's not. It makes a lot of sense,
yeah.
actually.
But now it's kind of
It
fun
makes
because
a
now
ton
I
of
can
sense.
actually legitimately say, I had a co-star role on Chicago Fire, so now I can say, "Oh, I've been on Chicago Fire,"
Okay.
and I've legitimately been on Chicago Fire, and it's not like, yeah, but I was just
It rings a
standing on
bell,
a
but
background thing. It was, yeah, no, I brought a character to life in the show.
That's awesome. Did you guys see Bob Odenkirk's new movie, Normal?
I have not.
I did go see it. I'm a fan of his. He was talking to someone, I forget where. Oh, it was Time Magazine or New York Times. And the whole thing he was talking about was like when he was on Mr. Show, he could go to a grocery store in Normal, Illinois, where he's from. Actually, he's from out here in Naperville, and he could go somewhere like a grocery store in Normal and nobody would recognize him. But then he got to Breaking Bad, and obviously everybody would start recognizing him. And so, it goes. I woke up this morning with Mark 8, verse 36 on my mind. And this is as we're trying all to make it in the film world, and we just have this passion for filmmaking, and it's just what we love. So the verse is from Jesus, and he says, "And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul?" It's tough, right? It's really tough. And Michael, I want to know a little bit more about your faith background, especially when we talk about these things.
Well, growing up, it was non-existent. It was growing up. It was
Yeah.
basically every time we went to Michigan to visit my grandparents, we'd go to church,
Yeah. Yeah, the grandparent guilt,
and that was
the double G.
that was it. But yeah, never grew up going to church.
So what changed recently?
So I think one of my earlier movies was Stand in the Gap, and it was a faith-based movie. And
Okay.
I would listen to faith-based radio on my way to
Yeah.
film it. And so I'd start listening to things. And then The Chosen came out. And then I started watching The Chosen.
Okay.
And The Chosen really brought it to life. Like, wait a minute, this is historical.
I love
This isn't
that.
a story. Like, this is historical.
Right.
And then I started just kind of researching and deep diving and digging into it and being like, okay, you know what? I get this. I get it. I get it. Now that I'm deep in Bible study and reading the Bible, and since then I've just kind of expanded, and I've been going to. I did at one point in time, once upon a time, got married and had to go through confirmation and baptism to get a Catholic wedding. So I have been baptized and confirmed.
Wow.
So I've started going to Catholic church almost a year ago now. So I'm in it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I listen to the word every night. Yeah. Andrew can verify. I'm pretty well rounded. I'm pretty knowledgeable. Like it's not just like one thing where I'm like, oh yeah, look at like I get it. I get it.
I feel like Mike. I have a lot in common with Mike. We have the same kind of. We both don't have any acting training. We both kind of came up. We both want the same thing. We get excited about the same things. Like we love.
That's awesome.
He'll text me and we talk. So he does. Yeah, he totally does, man. He gets into the word. And I couldn't get off this thing without saying that we're really close friends now.
Wow. No, and I don't mean to. I mean, I don't want to be like the grandma that's like, choose the Bible. What's that character from SNL? The Dana Carvey character. Church lady. I don't mean to be church lady. I don't mean to be church lady. Like, choose the Bible over nudity roles.
Oh, isn't that special?
You know what I mean? Isn't that special? But you know what I mean? Like, I obviously that Mark. This is why I say I'm not like educated on the Bible, because I don't. 8:36 Mark 8:36. Like, that verse has been on my mind as I've sat with the thought of, do I continue to pursue film, or do I go find my way trying to pursue finance like my mom does, or something like that?
You feel like you're going to lose your soul if you pursue film?
I wasn't close to God when I was at school for grad school. And that was a lot to my own fault, because I was doing stupid things. Like, I was using marijuana gummies, and that was a big slip up I had for 4 years. And I was not actively attending church. But now I'm back in church, and I'm still doing film related things, and I've started this podcast, and I feel like it's all rounding out, and I'm getting God involved in what I'm doing faith-wise. So my soul is back. My career, God has pushed my career on track, and it's all aligning in the way God wants it to be.
Sounds like you're doing good then. I heard this a long time ago. I'll share something with you. You can take a hammer and you can build a wonderful structure with it. Or you can tear down a wall. The hammer, I mean, do you blame the hammer? Do you blame the one that's behind the hammer? Right, like, so you can be a filmmaker. You can take your film skills and make trash with it, or you can make something good with it. Yeah. So I don't think it's neither. I don't think it's making film, losing your soul. It sounds like right now you're doing something that's good, and the Lord is backing you.
No, I love that quote.
Well, and I think sometimes when you have those periods where you stray away, and then you come back, those periods were put there on purpose to show you what you were missing. And now you got it back.
Sorry, there's one image in my head. I grew up on SpongeBob, and they're like building a house or something. There's Patrick's got a wooden plank just hammered to his with a nail just hammered to the top of his forehead. I'm such a goof. I'm gonna try to insert that over the video if I do video to this. No, but I love that quote. And that's a great reminder. Thank you. I don't know what's in my throat. I'm not choked up. I promise. What podcasts are you guys a fan of? Are you guys listeners of podcasts?
So I listen to Indie Film Hustle, the Indie Film Hustle podcast. It's in LA. I've been going on for, I think, since 2016. And, I got a lot of tips from there, and actually had pushed me into making my first film. Let me know, it kind of made me believe it was possible. So the Indie Film Hustle podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't listen to much anymore, but when I go on trips, I'll download one, and when I'm going to a festival or something, I'll listen to it on the plane. That's one that I listen to, but I don't know. I guess I just don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I confess, sometimes I'll listen to Joe Rogan on a YouTube, but I'll watch it on YouTube or something. If there's an actor I want to hear about, I'll get on there and hear their perspective. But
my thing is I'm never in one space long enough to listen to podcasts. Like I never have time for it. And I refuse to pay for things like Spotify.
They're
and
free
Apple,
with
so like
ads.
I don't necessarily have the access to it.
All software
Unless I
or
go
all
to YouTube,
services,
then you get commercials.
They're skippable too. You
Yeah.
just hit go forward
I have
30
no
seconds a
patience for
few
ads.
times. Hands are too busy.
boy, our world's gotten in a hurry, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not wasting time screwing around. Like, oh, I gotta go. You know,
That's why you guys need to go to Sunscreen Film Festival. It's laid back as can be. So on the plane back, actually, and it's funny that you just mentioned downloading on planes. We were on a United flight. I knew I wanted to finish up a chapter of my book that I'm reading. I'm reading Catch 22. So I watched a documentary. I was leafing through and I saw like an hour 30 documentary, and it was about Mark Maron. When I got sick, people recommended that I download some podcasts for whenever I was getting radiation or just, stuck in the hospital. And there was so few podcasts at the time. It was like NPR. The number one podcast was Mark Maron's WTF. Have you guys ever listened to that? And
I had, when I was training when I was doing the garbage business.
Ever listened to that?
One of my trainers, every single time he trained me on a new route, he'd put
Really?
on Mark Maron. I mean, if you like artists, a couple of different people on there, different actors.
Did you like it?
I'm all about that. So like, if I hear an actor interview, I'll listen to it. But they were okay.
Okay. I mean, as we can tell, I kind of take in all things actors, and maybe I'm a little too obsessed. But I figured since I'm starting this podcast, why not watch a documentary about a podcast? And he was engaged at this time to an actress. She made short films. She is an independent filmmaker, Lynn Shelton, and she passed away from a blood disorder at the beginning of COVID. And so it was more about her. It was definitely more about his grief of her passing away than it was about his podcast and this grief period and how it changed him. And he started doing a lot of like short Instagram lives about his grief. And he mentioned he's Jewish. He mentioned Jesus twice. No, once during it. He mentioned anything heaven related twice. And so in one of these Instagram lives, I'm going to show you guys, and hopefully it gets cleared and I don't get flagged for playing this audio. So there was very little talk other than like he's a stand-up comedian, and he would meet with he would talk about other Jewish comedians and stuff like that. And he mentioned the afterlife twice. He mentioned Jesus once. And so this Instagram live he did, he mentioned his wife or his fiance. And this is the Instagram live that was probably 20 minutes into the beginning of the movie.
She was just like, "Why are you saying
And
shit about radio?
it just gave me chills. And I said I gotta bring this up when I talk to you guys and show it to you. Hopefully we don't get flagged for playing this, but I want to see your guys' reaction. Let's see. This is like muted. I don't know why.
And I probably wouldn't have either if I
Really?
hadn't rode with somebody.
Oh,
I've honestly never heard of him. Yeah.
yeah.
And she said, she walked away towards that door in the kitchen, and she said, it's real. It's real.
What did you guys think about that?
I mean, I just saw a grieving man that had a dream about his wife, and that would crush anybody.
Yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot of context. Was there something else that maybe you were trying to get me to see there?
What she said to him.
Right.
She said it's real. And of all the things I could have watched, and I started this podcast, and I mean, I could have read my book.
Hmm.
This guy that, you know, was the only podcast I remember from the time I was going through this stuff.
Right.
And we started talking about dreams. I mean, Michael's dream at the beginning of this podcast recording.
Mm-hmm.
And someone from the other side spoke through a dream and said, it's real. When I heard that, I got chills through my whole body.
Mm.
And I was just I just was like, someone's telling us it's real. Someone's telling Mark Maron it's real, and you know, he's Jewish, but I was just like, of everything I could have watched, of everything I could have heard, of everything God could have, you know, led me to in this exact moment, I was
May the Lord
just in awe.
speak into it. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just moments like that that God lets me see, or God brings me to. Maybe, you know, my guests don't have some big come to Jesus thing that they want to tell me about, but if it's moments like that, if it's just really cool things where they've seen Jesus in their life that have shown something that could, you know, are
Yeah.
undoubtedly real.
I'm,
Wink,
you
wink.
know, I think that you're not wrong. I mean, that we all have something somewhere in our lives. I think that's where we got the nudge. I mean, if it's from the Lord, of course. Like for me, I was going to move to Alabama.
Yeah.
We were going to move, and I sold my house. I was ready to go. Like I had felt that tugging. It's time to start a new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put a 3-week notice in my job, and getting ready to move. Got that money from the house, stayed with a friend, and then my mom was going through cancer at the time, and my daughter didn't want to go yet. She was only 16 at the time, and we were just having this inner turmoil, I think, with the family. And we had put down an offer on a house in Alabama, and something told me it's just not time yet.
Yeah.
And my wife was agreeing, and we were like, okay, we're not going to do it. So we actually pulled out of our offer, lost our earnest money, which wasn't much, stayed, and I went back to my job, and I said, hey, I'm not moving. I'm going to stay here, and I got a little more time left here, I think. My mom's going through cancer. And they wouldn't hire me back on my job.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I've given you 6 years. It's me. Like, I thought we were a family. And apparently one of the mechanics didn't like me. And I know this is a weird story, but he didn't like me. We had a butting heads. It happened a lot, and I think he had seniority, and everybody kept telling me that was what influenced it. And the owner wouldn't hire me back, and I thought, man, what do I do? I didn't know what to do. I mean, I had money in the bank, but that could burn fast.
Yeah.
And we got an apartment, and I started looking for a job. And I found one. I was like, sweet, I got an interview, another garbage company. And I went and they loved me, and they said, we'll call you, I think you're going to work out great. And then they called me the next day, and they said, we decided to go with somebody else. And I thought, what? And I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, man, I don't understand this. And Angie, my wife, prior to that interview, she said, hey, why don't you just make a run at this filmmaking thing? Just do it for a while. Do the acting, do the whole thing. Just, you already got these films under your belt. Just do that. And I said, no, I was scared. I said, no, I can't do that. I got to provide. I got to have health insurance. I got to have all these things. And so when that happened, I didn't get the job. I'm a night owl, and everybody went to sleep. And I pulled up my Bible, and I went back to one of my old favorite stories, which was the story of David and Goliath. Everybody knows the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just reading it. Something that day told me, like, you just need to do it and trust God. It was funny because I tell this story, and my wife is the one that was the faithful one, nudging me, and I was the one going no. And I woke up that next day, and I told her, I said, listen, I'm going to make a run at it. And I go, I need to know 100% that you got me. She goes, oh, I got you. You know, like, just let's do this thing. And from then on, I had to lean on God. But it was like that. That was my moment, kind of like you're having right now. And it was just something in that story I was reading. Here he is facing this giant.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, you know what? I'm going to do it. And since I've done it, 2 years went by. And then I ended up moving to Alabama. And I got the house. And I got everything I wanted. I started the After series. I met friends. And everything I've done is just a crazy story where it was just kind of like how you felt, like out of all things, you know, out of all places to move to, out of all projects, out of, you know, it's just, you can't explain things. And sometimes when you get the blank stares but that was my moment where I was like, and I'm still doing it. I don't know how I'm still doing it. And I haven't gotten sick. Praise the Lord.
Wow.
I'm still doing it.
Day by day, God keeps it moving.
Yeah. It seems
That's
crazy
incredible.
to a lot of people.
All right, that we are talking with Andrew Jacob Brown, creator of the After series and lead actor and also stunt choreography of the After series, and also Michael Oilar. It's been a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's an honor.